One of the most important steps while preparing for an intense behavioral interview is that to prepare the stories for the core behaviors that you're going to get asked for during that interview. And I have plenty of such examples on my channel for not only for Amazon, in case you're asking. So in this video, I'm going to tell you some of the problems, some of the challenges that I identified while crafting these stories, so you could potentially avoid these while preparing your own. And the first one is by far the most common of all, is that you spend too much time on preparing these stories. Of course, it's very important what you talk about in a job interview is the most important thing. But from here, if your interview is 2 weeks away and you choose to spend 10 days to prepare your stories, that's an overreaction. And actually what happens is that people don't spend 10 days on preparing the stories, but they do not like spending a lot of time initially to have their stories ready, right? So they trail, for 10 days, one story day 3 tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And then they end up, 5 days or 3 days before the interview that they don't have all the stories. So very much recommend you to, start with preparing the best possible quality stories. And of course, if you realize later on they're not such high quality as you thought, of course you could go back and rephrase some of those, but do the stories first. This is the main thing. The second common pitfall is you forget to prepare the failure stories. So take this as common advice, as good advice for pretty much any type of role. 3 to 5 failure stories is what you're looking at. And I have other videos on this channel to help you brainstorm for this failure story. But if you don't have at least 3 failure stories, most likely you haven't prepared well enough your stories. The third pitfall here is that your stories are too long. It's not uncommon for me to see over 1 page or more for one story. Where I've seen the best results is with half page. So half a page, in my opinion, should be well enough, and even with bullet points. But bullet points is something that's more negotiable because some people cannot express themselves too well. So for them, if they write in narrative format, that could be helpful as well. But bullet points should work in most cases in half a page, the most. The next pitfall here is you tend to follow format for crafting these stories too closely. For example, you have the situation, task, action, outcome, result, and then learning for each of those stories. No, don't go this way. You're over templating the process and it's taking you too long. And not even there are some people who even go for the answers to template to so many steps. No, it's cumbersome. It won't work. The next item I want to talk about here is, this is another side effect of over templating, using Excel. I've seen very few cases of people who got jobs crafting their stories in an Excel sheet. It could work. I'm not saying it won't work, but in my opinion, you're better off with a simple document because it's a narrative after all. The importance is that the content that you're writing there and the bullet points. After all, Excel will not get you anywhere, in my opinion. And I've seen this. I'm saying this is because I see the technical roles tend to prepare for some reason more using the Excel format. I don't recommend it personally. Last but not least, and this will be a bit ambiguous because I cannot cover everything, is misinterpreting the behaviors. Like many of you. And especially in the case of Amazon interviews, you misinterpret the behaviors that you're asked for. Simplest examples are, where someone is asking you, for example, a customer obsession, and you provide an answer for just customer support when there was a bug and you fixed it. That's not customer obsession, that's customer support, right? Or another example would be when they ask you about time when you had to deliver results, and you talk about the time when you dive deep into details, and even though you delay the project by 2 months, you double the time of the project, you still deliver it with high quality. No, that's at best dive deep. Or last but not least, you talk about having backbone when the question was asking you on a principle of earn trust. A time when you received negative feedback from a manager and how did you respond. But these are details. These you can build better with time. But These would be some of the main elements you want to be careful while crafting your stories. And of course, if you want a tip here, give them great names. Give them great names, and once they're done, print them out. In the names, maybe hashtag, the principles or the behaviors that you're most interested in, so you have your stories ready, so whenever you need them, you can refresh your memory in 5 minutes.